evening, chat. Part 2 tonight. We got Dose. And we got our buddy here. We got Clyde. Hello, Bubba. Hi, buddy. You're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. He's like, thank you, fat man. I'm naked when you scratch like that. It feels good. He's like, yeah. Oh, look at that. He's just like, rah. Oh, he's just, ugh. Stretch it out. Get his scritches. Ah, thanks, buddy. Thank you. I needed that. Gotta get his scritches in, chat. Gotta get his scritches in. All right. Speaking of that, we need to get him his treats. So, welcome tonight. If you guys are new and you weren't here before, my name's Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. Tonight, we are addressing Jay-Z. Yes, that Jay-Z. You might also know him as Sean Carter or S. Carter, who must try harder because his competition is nada. You also might know him as Hove. You might also know him as Beyonce's husband. You might know him as a lot of things. But yes, the rapper known as Jay-Z. You know, he had his Ferrari and Jaguars. Oh, we got Clyde ASMRing this. Hold on. He'd have his Ferrari and Jaguars, switch 4 lanes, with the top down screaming out, money ain't a thing. Hi, buddy. He would also use umbrellas to chase the bad weather. But now, he travels first class just to change the forecast, never in bunches. Just me and you, because he'd love your point of view, because he held no punches. Yes, that same Jay-Z. That same Jay-Z. If you guys remember, he was accused of sexually assaulting a woman who at the time was a teenager, along with Diddy. Because remember, you know, that Diddy, yes, P. Diddy, at the MTV, in an after party after the MTV Awards in 2000. Now, remember, we went through that complaint. We went through all the problems with that complaint, including the actual interview with the victim, who sounds like she got kicked in the head by a horse. But the other issues with her complaint, that all the celebrities she saw weren't there or were in other places that were documented. So that was a problem. And Jay-Z retained Alex Spiro. Yes, that Alex Spiro has represented Eric Adams, Alec Baldwin. He's been popping up everywhere. They showed up and they went directly after this complaint that was filed against him, alleging he had raped this woman when she was very, very young. And Clyde, I got to put you on the ground, buddy, so I can get back to work. So we're going to do that. Okay. Okay. How about I set you on the ground, budda? Anyways, chat, you got to see Clyde. He's doing well. So, all right. Here you go, Clyde. There we go. All right. All right, chat. So we're going to get to this. And if you guys remember, we went through this. There were a lot of problems. One of the big problems was Tony Buzbee is the attorney for a lot of people suing Jay-Z. And Tony Buzbee, as far as attorneys goes, has a bit of a shitty reputation from what I understand. So he's part of a group of attorneys who there are, if you guys go onto Court Listener or Pacer and you type in Jane Doe versus Sean Combs, which is Diddy's name, there's like a million freaking lawsuits and a million freaking cases. This was one of them. Well, after all the motion practice from Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, Jay-Z didn't even enter a response. The case ended up getting dismissed with prejudice by the plaintiff before it even got to a motion to dismiss, before it even got a complaint, before there was an answer to the complaint. That's how bad it was. And there were so many problems with it. Well, Jay-Z is not just letting it go. Oh, no. Jay-Z is coming after them. He is coming after the person who accused them. Well, more importantly, you know, that person's just going to be some poor white trash. But he's going after the attorneys who filed suit against him. He is going after everybody. And Cat Williams, how you doing? I say, hey, who else is here real quick? Well, we got a lot of people. You guys all came over from before. The little Jen that could is saying, Clyde, yep. Thank you. In the year 2000, yes. So, J-Rock says Hella's entire portfolio is in Australian steel stocks. She needs the subs, chat. Oh, so here we go. This is going to be Jay-Z getting involved, and we're going to also cover a secondary issue with Tony Buzbee, the attorney involved in this. We're actually going to cover this first. During the Jay-Z lawsuit, the attorneys involved for defending Jay-Z said, hey, man, there's some bullshit here because Tony Buzbee is not licensed and not admitted to the New York bar. He's also not admitted to practice in the Southern District of New York. Now, remember, chat, practicing in federal court isn't that big a deal. Once you're admitted to one court, it's pretty easy to get admitted pro hoc vice, which means for this one purpose. And you get to bounce around and go in other courts. Robert Barnes is a great example of that. He gets admitted pro hoc vice in a lot of courts, but he doesn't actually get licensed in all of them. Or Joe Tacopina, the guy who defended A$AP Rocky. He's from the East Coast, and he got admitted pro hoc vice to come practice out in California to defend A$AP Rocky. There are a lot of attorneys who do that. They kind of bounce around and they get admitted pro hoc instead of having to go out and pay money to get admitted to each different state or each different federal court, because there are a ton of courts out there. So this is where things happen, though. You have to be admitted, pro hoc or naturally. You have to be allowed to practice in front of that court if you're going to submit paperwork. Even though I'm an attorney, I'm not admitted to the Northern District of Ohio or the Southern District of Ohio. If I just showed up and started filing papers, the court's going to say, who the fuck are you and what are you doing? The same way if right now I went across the state line to Pennsylvania and started filing papers, they would stop and say, whoa, who the fuck are you? Now, the only place that's not going to happen is in the state of Ohio, because I can file anywhere in one Ohio, and they're going to go, yeah, okay, cool. He's allowed to be here. But Tony Buzbee is having an issue. And this is when things start falling apart for... This is where you're like, uh-oh, what's going to happen to this guy? This is the issue here. So this is one of the cases Tony Buzbee has done in the Southern District of New York. And this is kind of a template as far as the heading's concerned, because there's a bunch of captions here that we went over in the Jay-Z lawsuit. So it's in the Southern District of New York. This came out today, so this is actually hot off the press. Anyway, this one's John Doe, not Jane Doe, John Doe versus Sean Combs, known as Diddy, Daddy's House Recordings, Combs Global, formerly known as Combs Enterprises, Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings, Bad Boy Productions, Bad Boy Books Holdings, Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Productions, organizational companies 1 through 10, because Diddy has so many LLCs and corporate entities, it's not clear, and also individual does 1 through 10. Remember, Diddy has a lot of people in his organization that are believed to have helped perpetrate the freak-offs and the human trafficking and set it all up and are his fixers and all those things that are out there. So there's a lot of unknown. But this is in order. This actually comes from the judge himself. And this is from Judge Ronnie Abrams. So if you see the RA, that means the judge's initials. Up here, you'll see it. It's RA. So this is from the actual district judge down in the Southern District of New York. It says, it has come to the court's attention that Anthony Buzbee, Esquire, who signed the complaint and several other filings on behalf of the plaintiff, Docket 1, Docket 3, and Docket 34, has not been admitted to practice in the Southern District of New York. Moreover, although Mr. Buzbee was warned several weeks ago in a parallel case that this conduct violated Local Civil Rule 1.3, and they're citing another case there, he failed to bring this issue to the court's attention, which that can become a problem when you're not doing things you're supposed to do, guys. That can cause you problems, because if you're not following the rules, chat, this can become a big fucking issue. And depending on what courts may do, courts may order you to notify other courts because they're aware this guy's got a ton of cases. These judges know what's going on. So they're not idiots. They're not idiots. They understand all of that. But you can't just act and ignore things when especially federal judge, any judge really tells you to do something. Guess what? You do it. There is no jerking around with this. There is no jerking around with it. And what happened with Tony Buzbee here is a bit of an issue for him. And we're going to go to this real quick. It's only 2 pages, but I think it shows you more of what's going on for Tony Buzbee. And it's just not good. It's just not good. And this one is another case, and this is from, you guys can see here, this is from February. So this is just under a month ago. But he was previously warned. He was previously warned to do something, and he hasn't done it. He hasn't done it. And this is not how you win friends and influence people. I can tell you that much, chat. Is this the Anthony Buzbee from Tejas? Yes. Yes, he is out of Tejas. And he's out there doing all kinds of big name, high profile work. This one's different. It's Candace McCreary versus, once again, Diddy. This is Diddy and his organizations. Now, this is another order. Now, you're noticing this is a little bit of a different template. This judge gets to do, the judges get to do it their own way with some stylization differences. So this judge says the court has received the parties' letters about the contemplated motions of dismiss, the defendant Marriott International and the defendant Sean Combs, and all the other things that are getting listed here. The court concludes that a pre-motion conference is not necessary. The defendant's respective requests to leave for motions to file motions to dismiss are granted. The court also grants plaintiff leave to file an amended complaint before any such motion is filed. The court notes that plaintiff's letter in opposition to the pre-motion letter filed by Marriott is signed by Anthony Buzbee. The court has been informed that Mr. Buzbee is not admitted to practice in the Southern District of New York. Now, here's the neat thing, chat. Some of you might say, well, can the Buzbee Law Office have people practicing and signing it, but under the name of the Buzbee Law Office? Yes, that's legal. But if you're putting your name on documents, you have to be admitted. You have to be the licensed person. So they say he has not filed a motion to appear pro hoc vice in this case. As such, Buzbee is in violation of local rules. It is hereby ordered that Buzbee must file a motion to appear pro hoc vice no later than February 21st. It's further ordered that by February 25th, the plaintiff shall file a letter informing the courts whether they intend to file an amended complaint. Okay. And this will be the plaintiff's last opportunity to file an amended response. But that's not really the problem here. This is the big thing. He has to file a motion to appear no later than February 21st. Now, here's the thing. If he did that, he would then be allowed to practice in front of all of the judges of the Southern District of New York. You don't have to file it per judge. He only has to file it he files it with the court itself, and then he's fine. But here, he has not done that. He has not done that. Okay. Now, here's a notice. Here is a notice. The parties are on notice of failure to comply with the court's orders. The federal rules of civil procedure, the local rules, or this court's individual rules of practice may result in sanctions, including monetary sanctions on counsel and or the parties, dismissal or preclusion of claims, defenses, arguments, or evidence, and case terminating sanctions of dismissal and default judgment. And this was ordered on February 18th. So we see that now. Going back to it, no later than March 18th, so next Tuesday, no later than March 18th, he shall file a letter explaining why he failed to notify the court about this issue earlier and proposing next steps to rectify it. Now, the court's giving him some options here, like, you're going to go ahead and get pro hoc, and you'll be like, look, I kind of thought I did. I thought my people took care of it. Whatever. But what you do is he's going to have to file pro hoc, get it all done, and bring a letter saying, look, I'm a big old retard. The court might sanction him, might give him a little bit of a fine, but otherwise he'll be okay. But this is like, buddy, you gotta get it wrapped up. You gotta get back on the track. So it's assigned today. He's got 1 week to get stuff figured out. And getting pro hoc vice stuff done isn't a big deal. Federal courts do it all the time. Somebody like the Southern District of New York does like 1 million of them. It's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It's actually, you just got to fill out the forms. It's not hard. So this is this one's gonna screw up Tony Buzbee. Stuff like this, which kind of makes it sound like he's getting to the beginning of the end. Also, before we get too far, guys, I want to remind you we are on Rumble, Twitter, and YouTube tonight, so we're everywhere if you guys want to watch. Now, moving on from here, we're actually going to get into the lawsuit that was filed. So here is the lawsuit, chat. Here is the lawsuit. This is filed out of the Southern District of Alabama in the Mobile Division. So we're way down at the bottom of Alabama. Way down at the bottom. So Southern District of Alabama. There we go. Sorry, chat. We're trying to find the right color. There we go. That's a better green. I like that green better. So it says Sean Corey Carter. Yes. Jay-Z. S. Carter. Because you must try harder. Your competition is nada. Versus Anthony Buzbee. David Fortney. Anthony G. Buzbee LP. Doing business as the Buzbee Law Firm. And Jane Doe. Yeah. So this is the plaintiff's complaint and demand for a jury trial. And he didn't bring Spiro down for this one. He went and hired some people ready to do work out of Birmingham, Alabama. So Baker, Donaldson, Bierman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz. Really traditional Alabama name right there, let me tell you what. And so it says the introduction. This is the introduction. Just notice what they start off with. False, malicious, strategically and tactically calculated and timed to commit maximum pain and suffering on Mr. Carter. And a conspiracy of multiple attorneys, including the defendants Anthony Buzbee and David Fortney, who, like her, were solely motivated by greed, in abject disregard of the truth, and the most fundamental precepts of human decency. Woo, buddy! Woo, buddy! We're already coming out the door like, watch your ass. You know, they're not mincing words here. They're not mincing words here. They are not mincing words here, chat. Ooh. These are the only truthful and fair descriptions of Jane Doe's and her lawyer's malevolent efforts to assassinate the impeccable and lifetime earned character of Sean Carter, who's professionally known as Jay-Z, but more importantly, he's known as dad and husband and son, and a human being who did nothing to deserve or elicit the wanton, depraved attack that Jane Doe, in conspiracy with her lawyers, launched to extort Mr. Carter beginning on November 5th, 2024, through a menacing private demand letter. So, yes, they are going after it, but yes, son. Yes, because when Jay-Z talks about how he kept arms, specifically 38 longs inside of his mom's Buick. Yes, I'm sure she's appreciative of that. Her son storing guns in the car. Doe and her attorneys, Anthony Buzbee, David Fortney, and the Anthony G. Buzbee Limited Partnership. That's what LP means, chat. LP means limited partnership. Doing business as the Buzbee Law Firm, collectively the defendants then brought before the world an in-court complaint, the impossibility and the indeed absurdity, you could almost say it was outrageous conduct, of which was surpassed only by its vile malevolence in a desperate attempt to leverage Mr. Carter into an extortionate payoff, which these malicious actors present as the only path forward for Mr. Carter to prevent the public prosecution of a lawsuit by Doe. Very, 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 very much. They're using all the $10 words here, chat. So when their initial extortionate demand letter failed to yield the financial windfall they sought, and after Doe told Buzbee, with whom she had never spoken before the demand letter was drafted and sent, that Mr. Carter did not sexually assault her, Buzbee pushed her towards going forward with a false story against Mr. Carter to make the case better and to get them, the lawyers, and her more money. Specifically, Buzbee brought Jay-Z into it. Buzbee then went forward naming Mr. Carter with full knowledge by him and pardoned him by Doe that Mr. Carter had never assaulted Doe, and Doe's entire story as it related to Mr. Carter was completely fabricated. Notice they're not saying like Diddy didn't do it. They're just saying like we know Jay-Z didn't do it. And I think that's a good point where you're like, P. Diddy, like, yeah, we're not dealing with that one. We're going like this right now. P. Diddy, who's that? Who's that? And this is the stuff I had actually been reading, chat, because this is, this was filed last week, but this was some stuff that had leaked out on the on Twitter. Doe is now voluntarily admitted directly to representatives of Jay-Z. The story brought before the world in court and on global television was just that, a false, malicious story. She has admitted that Jay-Z did not assault her and that it was indeed Buzbee himself whom she met for the first time in a coffee shop in Houston on the day of her false NBC News interview. And that was the big thing. Tony Buzbee did not meet her till right before she got interviewed by NBC News. If that's true, whoa, buddy. Uh-oh. 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 So he said he pushed her to go forward with the false narrative of the assault in order to leverage a maximum payday. To compound this egregious harm, just last Friday, Buzbee's and Fortney's counsel, co-counsel, a prominent New York attorney in the now dismissed false action against Mr. Carter, threatened Mr. Carter's counsel to double down with yet another false public statement by Doe if Carter publicly revealed her admissions and Buzbee's and Fortney's misdeeds in Mr. Carter's pending California lawsuit against Buzbee. I have not gotten that one, chat. We'll probably do that one later if it's really worth it. But this one's the good one, though. Fortunately and clearly unexpectedly from their perspective, Doe, Buzbee, and Fortney were met with nothing but righteous resolve at every turn by Mr. Carter. He stood steadfast. That's James saying, wait, how did Jay-Z's attorney speak to her? We're going to get to that. We'll get to how that happened. Remember, Jay-Z and, Buzbee and them dismissed the case. So at that point, they probably got it. That's how they got away with talking to her, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. By the way, that's a shame. Hello. How are you? Hope you're doing well. He stood steadfast, publicly decried the lies being put forth against him. As he says, the cops tried to box, the cops tried to hit him and the DAs tried to box him in, but somehow he's beating them charges like Rocky. The lies being put forth and beat the evil conspiracy among the malicious Doe and her malevolent, soulless lawyers, driving them back into the shadows from which they came. That sounds like something Vince McMahon would say. Your malevolent, soulless lawyers were driven back into the shadows from which they came. Yes! Oh. Anderson Cooper said, I don't get these rap references. That's all right. That's all right. You don't have to. I like them. That's why I'm doing them. They did the voluntary dismissal with prejudice without settlement of their claim and complaint on Valentine's Day. Aww. Mr. Carter does not commence this action lightly. Following Jane Doe's admission she fabricated claims, her lawyers have continued to seek to hide this reality, including through further extortion and threats and demands by Buzbee, Fortney, and their New York counsel. Even after all this, Mr. Carter does not expose his malicious and wrongful accuser's identity in this complaint, seeking to maintain her anonymity as Doe, which is actually very nice of him. That's a very good way to look like the classy person here. But the extortion and abuse of Mr. Carter by Doe and her lawyers must stop. Therefore, Mr. Carter brings this lawsuit to hold Doe accountable for her willful defamation per se and her malicious prosecution of knowingly false allegations against Mr. Carter that Doe and her co-conspirator attorneys have falsely and maliciously peddled. The plaintiff, Sean Corey Carter, previously known as Jay-Z, is a citizen of the state of California, residing in California. Defendant Anthony Buzbee is an attorney and resident of the state of Tejas. He is the principal of defendant Anthony G. Buzbee's LP, doing business at the Buzbee law firm. Defendant David Fortney is an attorney affiliated with the firm and is a resident of the state of Tejas. So, the Buzbee law firm is a law firm organized under the laws of the state of Texas, and that's where its residency is, and operates its principal base of business from Harris County, Texas, which is Houston. No members of the defendant Buzbee Law Firm's limited partnership reside in the state of California. Now, why are they bringing up, chat? Remember, you have the issues of diversity jurisdiction. Remember, you have to look at it this way. There's a plaintiff side and the defendant side. And when you're using diversity jurisdiction, you cannot have a plaintiff and a defendant who are from the same state. That defeats a diversity jurisdiction claim. So that's why they're pointing out Jay-Z's from California. These guys are all from Texas. And they're showing that nobody in this is from California. They say also that Buzbee and Fortney's conduct described in this complaint were taken on behalf of themselves and on behalf of the law firm. Now, this is why they're going to Alabama, is this part here. Defendant Jane Doe is a citizen in Alabama residing in this district. That's why they're doing this. This way she can't complain and get a venue change or change for a lack of personal jurisdiction. Remember, chat, we've mentioned that before. Rule 12b1, motion to dismiss for lack of personal jurisdiction. I don't have, and this woman probably doesn't have the minimal contacts to get sued in California. Tony Buzbee does. The other attorneys do. This woman has not done anything really outside of that. So they're suing her where she lives because that's a guaranteed the court's never going to toss it because she has minimal contacts in the Southern District of Alabama. So Doe sued Mr. Carter in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York under a Jane Doe pseudonym. She later published her malicious lies on NBC News without revealing her name. So jurisdiction and venue. There's subject matter jurisdiction here because the matter of controversy exceeds the sum of $75,000. They also talk about how Jay-Z is a citizen of California. These parties are citizens of Texas. And Doe is a citizen of Alabama. Okay, and that's how they do that. So they're saying there's diversity jurisdiction. They say the venue is appropriate because Doe resides in this district, and the Buzbee and Fortney provided legal service to her and spoke and met with her in this district. So that's good enough. A bunch of this happened here. And the allegations common to all claims for relief. So they say Doe appears to be suffering from personal and financial hardship. She had lost custody of her children, and her parents, who on information and belief support Doe, recently filed for bankruptcy protection. Desperate to obtain a payday, Doe hired the Buzbee law firm, which has a long history of whipping up a media frenzy with vague and sensational claims against public figures, which he does, to extort payments from Jay-Z under the threat of devastating harm to his reputation. As discussed below, Doe's first attempt to extort Jay-Z through an extortion and demand letter and an anonymous lawsuit, both from Buzbee. When Jay-Z failed to capitulate to the baseless demands, Doe doubled down by using the justice system to attempt to ruin Jay-Z by formally naming Jay-Z in a complaint, making horrific false allegations. And when those failed, she resorted to defaming him on global television. A simple Google or other public record search of Doe by Buzbee and Fortney would have cast doubt on her credibility by revealing that, among other things, less than 90 days before sending the demand letter, she had been in court on mental health-related issues in connection with her second-degree assault charge, and her bail had been revoked for failing a drug test. Uh-oh. B, she has several mental health disorders. She takes multiple medications, according to testimony from her psychiatrist, laid bare in public court records. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, but there's more, chat. And C, she has made 3 other sexual assault allegations, which were dropped or dismissed by other courts. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. So they're talking about here how this works. So Doe sues Diddy's entities, alleging that she was assaulted after an after party following the 2000 MTV VMAs. You guys remember when that was a thing? Actually, people gave a shit about were the VMAs. Crazy, huh? Crazy. No, her last name is not Greer, chat. No. On October 20th, she sued Diddy and his business entities in the complaint. Her lawsuit also implicates an unnamed celebrity A and celebrity B. She did not formally name them as parties. Instead, she only used John Doe's 1 through 10. In her original complaint, she alleges that when she was 13 years old, a friend dropped her off at Radio City Music Hall in New York City so she could try to attend the VMAs. Although she was unable to talk her way into the VMAs, a limousine driver purporting to work for Diddy invited her to an after party. This part makes sense. It probably happened. Diddy is kind of a freak like that. Later that evening, the limousine driver took her to a large white house with a gated U-shaped driveway about 20 minutes away. Which I'm kind of really wondering there, because 20 minutes driving in New York, like, I don't really know if you can get to a decent place, but who knows? After accepting a drink, Doe claimed she felt woozy and lightheaded and found what she believed to be an empty room. Doe alleges that Diddy and celebrity A, Jay-Z, assaulted her while celebrity B watched, which I wonder if that means Beyonce. It has become evident that Doe did not initiate this legal action with a legitimate purpose. Instead, the lawsuit was filed with the intent to extort Jay-Z. Doe sends Mr. Carter an extortionate letter falsely accusing him of sex assault. A few weeks after filing the complaint, Doe through Buzbee sent Jay-Z a letter dated November 5th containing allegations of vile conduct by Jay-Z. Some of the allegations in Doe's letter were from the public complaint filed, which contained inconsistencies that were later changed when the complaint was amended, with the obvious implication being she would amend her complaint to add Jay-Z if he refused to pay. Doe threatened to take a different course if Carter did not commit to a confidential mediation to resolve this delicate and important matter by the deadline of November 19th, giving Jay-Z only a 2-week window before she would go public with her false allegations. To avoid public and criminal exposure, Buzbee stated his client wants something of substance by way of a settlement. However, Doe had already sued Jay-Z, albeit as one of his Does 1 through 10. Doe's plan was perfectly clear. She was demanding that Jay-Z either A, pay something of substance, stop her from making public the wildly false allegations of sexual assault that would subject Jay-Z to opprobrium and irreparably harm his reputation, family, career, and livelihood, or 2, endure the financial and personal ruin. Doe's statements and correspondence made clear the immediate and extensive threat of exposure if Jay-Z failed to pay. Unwilling to capitulate, Jay-Z filed a lawsuit against Buzbee for extortion and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Carter explained that Jay-Z explained that Buzbee was shamelessly attempting to extort exorbitant sums from him, or else publicly file wild, horrific allegations against him. On December 8th, humiliated by the lawsuit, Buzbee encouraged Doe to file, and Buzbee unfortunately filed a First Amendment complaint, revealing what Mr. Carter knew all along, that one of the Does was a placeholder for Jay-Z if he did not pay her ransom. In the First Amendment complaint, Doe makes wild, horrific, but utterly false allegations against Jay-Z, substituting him for celebrity A. Yep. And then on December 13th, NBC broadcasted portions of an exclusive interview of Doe which was conducted with Fortney by her side. NBC News honored her request to mask her identity, and they published a story excerpting interviews it held with Doe, and it says, you can actually watch it, guys. It's actually very, and you know what? I think we'll fire this up here because I think we can get it. Because part of the interview was really like, you're like, how can this person be true? She sounds like she's completely like ruined here. Like, it sounds like she has no idea what the hell's going on. Hold on here. Let me see. We're going to bring it up.
Against a rape accusation. His attorney filing a letter to the judge to dismiss.
Here we go. This is, remember, if we watch this chat, here's part of the accuser talking.
13 years old. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward? Because I think that I've been quiet long enough.
She says that she went.
Now, remember, when we listened to this, it sounded like she got kicked in the head by a mule.
To an after party. She says at the party, she spoke to musician Benji Madden.
Yeah, she spoke to these people. They're like, yeah, we were never there. So she's had a lot of problems here. And she didn't remember how she got there. It didn't make sense where she traveled from, that she had driven like 5 hours from home. Like, the whole thing wasn't adding up, chat. Remember, we went through all that. And that she called her dad, and her dad drove 5 hours. He doesn't remember doing it. Nobody remembers anything. Yes, it was good Charlotte there, so. Yes. That's not the same white guy twice. Stop it. So, during the interview, which was set up by Buzbee, was given on a voluntary basis, and in the presence of Fortney, Doe lied about Mr. Carter to a global television audience. In addition to attempting to explain the impossible, how she, a 13-year-old from upstate New York, wound up in Manhattan at a private VMA after party. And that's the thing. She has like a southern draw now, and she's from upstate New York. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense how she ended up there. With countless celebrities, she spoke about how Benji Mann and his brother are at the after party. She recalled talking to Benji Mann about his tattoo of the Last Supper because she has a religious background, so it's something to talk about. And you're like, that sounds like bullshit. She repeated her claims that while at the after party, she had a drink that made her woozy. And that Jay-Z and Diddy took turns raping her while an unidentified female celebrity watched. And that's, once again, is that Beyonce? We don't know. We don't know. Doe then told NBC that following the alleged assault, she found her way to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home. She states her father did not ask what happened, what she did, or where she was. Instead, they rode home in silence for 5 hours and 47 minutes. And yes, New York is that big of a state. So the allegations are false and defamatory, and her mendacity. Remember, Chad, as we learned from Judge McAfee, the odor of mendacity is clear, including the reporters at NBC News. And they say, first, although stated the assault occurred at a residence, Mr. Carter was at no such residence. Indeed, NBC News located photos of Jay-Z from that evening, showing him at a party at a commercial location, the now closed Lotus nightclub in New York City. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Of course, a private nightclub cannot be mistaken for a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway that included a large living room or foyer, a hallway containing several rooms, often in a bedroom. Even Buzbee admitted that Doe does not claim the assault occurred at Lotus nightclub. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Second, Doe told NBC she spent 20 minutes in the limo before arriving at the residence. However, when pressed about these details in a follow-up interview, Doe admitted she did not know where she was going or how even long the drive took. Yeah, and that's my point, guys. Like, getting from, and this is the issue here. This is kind of what I was thinking here. So, where is Radio City Music Hall here? 6th Avenue. Oh, damn, I was pretty close. So Radio City Music Hall, guys, is like right behind Rockefeller Center. So if you guys don't know about that, we're going to zoom out here, chat. We're going to switch to this real quick. So this is the world. And now we're going in on, well, here's the 51st state way up here. The 51st state. We are now moving in on Manhattan Island, specifically within the city of New York. So in Midtown, near Central Park, and near the Rockefeller Center, chat, where people do the ice skating and shit, and NBC Studios is, there's Radio City Music Hall, where the VMAs were held. Now, here's the thing. You're in Midtown Manhattan. The VMAs would have ended in the evening, and it would have been very tough to get out of New York City. And think about it. If you drive 20 minutes through New York City, if you go south, and here's the point. If you go south, well, you're going to, run into the river. If you try to go into Queens, it's going to take a while. That might be the only place they could get to. Because if you're going north, you're going through the Upper East Side or you're going through the Upper West Side, you're probably not going to find a place with a big old gated driveway. So, and I doubt she went to Jersey. So, where the fuck did she go? Like a 20-minute drive. If she even came down into Brooklyn, like that's going to take a long, that's going to take you 20, like it's going to take a while to get there. It's going to take a while to get there. There's no 20-minute drive. That's kind of my point here when you're looking at this. This is not a fast way to go. Sula says we're going to Jersey, maybe. Okay, there's no, here's the deal. There's no VMA after party in North Bergen. Nobody's going to Hoboken or North Bergen for a fucking VMA after party. Garrett says after 10 p.m. it is doable. Yeah. Englewood, New Jersey, Alpine, New Jersey. I know, Kathy, and I understand you're trying to rep for New Jersey here. Are we going to EVS's house? And I know Joe lives over here somewhere too. And I'm not saying nobody wants to live in New Jersey. I'm just saying, like, it's really going to be tough to get where you're going here to have a big old party like that. So, lots of musicians live in Englewood. Maybe. I was just thinking like a 20-minute drive is going to be tough, but then she's even admitting, well, I actually don't know how long it took, which then that's how you start walking this back. Look up EVS's driveway. Is it gated? I thought he lived in like Philadelphia or on the PA side. I didn't know he lived in New Jersey. So where is she conceded to NBC? She guessed about the length of time the trip had taken. Uh-oh. So, Alexis, 2002, thank you, Alexis, is saying Tisa Tells, a YouTuber, did a video on this case, and she moved the dates to 2003, and she confirmed everything in the lawsuit. Interesting. Huh. Trump once says you're looking at it with with today's layout. It was a different 25 years ago. Yeah, I mean, it was different, but not much more. There weren't like new bridges or tunnels. And New York still had really rough congestion back then too. So, EVS lives in central New Jersey. God, I feel bad for him. I'm just kidding, Kathy, and the rest of you guys here. It's all right. The Vinyl Revolution says you can put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty, meet them in Atlantic City. Yes. Yeah, you have to check the video out. She dug deep and showed the receipts. Okay. That's interesting. Thank you, Alexis. I appreciate it. Kathy says, I love you too, Sean. Thank you, Kathy. You're saying from Wentz is bad grammar, it's just Wentz? I'm used to reading like Deeds, and they talk about, I think they use from Wentz a lot. You're forgetting the blimp fairies. Yeah, okay. So anyway, third, as her description of a supposed conversation with Benji Madden during her interview with NBC News, a representative for Madden confirmed that neither he nor his brother Joel attended the 2000 VMAs. Yes, because it was tough being emo back in the 2000s. If you guys weren't there, you just won't understand. You know, the lifestyles of the rich and famous. They're always complaining. Always complaining. And that they and their band, Good Charlotte, were on tour in the Midwest at the time. When confronted with this evidence, she conceded she made a mistake in identifying them, and not all faces at the after party were clear. Now, here's the thing. You can be wrong about stuff or make mistakes, but you can't make a ton of mistakes. That's where you have a problem. So fourth, regarding her long pre-dawn drive home with her father, Doe's father told NBC News he does not recall picking her up, which unsurprisingly would have been something that definitely would stick out in my mind. And that was the other thing I remember we went over this. I definitely would have remembered doing that. He said he learned the alleged assault when she was interviewed by NBC News, and that he did remember once picking her up in the middle of the night, but it was a local drive. Based on their address in Rochester, Doe's father would have driven at least 5 hours and 47 minutes to pick her up. And if you guys don't know what they're referring to here, they're talking about Rochester, New York. So Rochester is, as you can see, this is Rochester right here. It's way the F up there. And you're like, wow, that's kind of right there. They got a ton of snow. They got a lot of lake effect snow. But that's a long way. You got to get like all the way there. And there's, you got the Finger Lakes here that are in the way. You're going to have to take like the throughway. Like, it's a long, New York's a big state if you guys didn't realize. New York is a massive state. So, Western New York, yes. Papa Roach had a great show too. Yeah, Papa Roach is great. Edie Never says Rochester's a shithole. Well, okay. Nobody was arguing that it's not. Nobody has ever argued that Rochester is not a shithole. Or Buffalo. Nobody's ever made that argument here, and no one ever will. I will say the Finger Lakes region is actually very nice, though. So, and there are countless other falsehoods in the allegations. For instance, despite alleging it took 20 minutes to get to the after party, there are no houses matching the description within the 20 minutes of Radio City Music Hall. And although she implies that Diddy hosted the after party, none of Diddy's properties match the description of the location of the property. Well, that doesn't work because Diddy could have rented any of the stuff. Diddy could have rented any of those places. That doesn't mean anything. That does not mean much. That does not mean much. Really. Moreover, Doe alleges that after the VMAs began, much of the crowd moved inside, but Doe, without a ticket, remained outside and watched the VMAs on a Jumbotron. But the broadcast of the VMAs conclusively shows there was no Jumbotron. Indeed, the producer of the 2000 VMAs and the NYPD confirmed there was no Jumbotron since their permit was denied. Even if Doe was outside the VMAs, she could not have approached celebrity limousines because they were only outside of Radio City briefly for celebrity pickup and drop-off. In any event, the celebrity limousines were separated from fans by police barricades, as publicly available video of the event clearly shows. And that's, yeah, so it's like, how does that work? How does that work, guys? How does that work? Let me see here, chat. What are we? So I'm trying to find this. Let me see here. All right, I'm gonna try to find that video that Alexis was referring to. Trey says they don't want to be in love, Sean. Alexa saying the worst celebrities I've worked with were Mariah Carey and R. Kelly divas. Oh, I could see Mariah Carey being a diva. We actually, Alexis, you might like this on Christmas Eve. We actually talked about the All I Want for Christmas and how there was a lawsuit about that song. It's actually kind of interesting. So thank you for being here. Eric Fulham says Deadsy was the best shitty new metal band. Well, yeah. Final Revolution says my husband worked with Weird Al. Best guy he ever met. Yes, I heard Weird Al is actually a very, very nice guy. A very nice guy. Now, here's the thing they can argue, though, in defense of all this, if you're Buzbee and all them. She was 13. Like, she may not have realized what the fuck she was looking at, what she was doing, and what she was seeing. So that's something she can use. NBC confronted Doe regarding this contradictory evidence, which it had uncovered less than a week after conducting the interview in a follow-up phone response. In response, Doe admitted she made some mistakes. She disavowed the allegations in her complaint about the location of the incident, admitted she was just guessing. Whoa. Oh, no. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. That's not good. That's not good, chat. Yes, it was a lawsuit with a guy named Vince Valiant and the Renegades. And it was about the idea of like the concept of the song All I Want for Christmas Is You had been sung many, many times throughout history, so nobody really owned that idea. But yes, it was about All I Want for Christmas Is You, and I had to play it enough and people were losing their minds. I tortured chat with it. It was great. So, it says here, though, but Doe did not drop her baseless complaint. She instead insisted on moving forward by offering to submit to a polygraph, which never occurred or in any event has never seen the light of day. Well, that's interesting. You know, I want to do a polygraph. Well, can we give it to you? No. Yes, then the cops put coke metabolites in her hair. It was all a setup. The quote's a great Nick Ricada. So they say then that Jay-Z made several filings repeatedly detailing the falsity of the claims, as revealed by her story's inconsistencies and the baselessness of the various allegations. At each of these junctures, Doe is confronted with the false nature of her claim, as well as the harm it was causing. At any of these points, Doe could have withdrawn her lawsuit. You still were going to sue her, though, homie. Like, let's be real. If she had quit earlier, it would just be the scope of the damage. Nevertheless, Doe continued to pursue her claim without regard to the harm it was causing or could cause Jay-Z. She has now admitted that Jay-Z did not assault her. Indeed, Buzbee, aware of that Jay-Z did not assault her, pushed her to make the false claim for money. Having already sent the false and defamatory demand letters, having filed the false and defamatory complaint, and having already set up Doe to give the false and defamatory interview to NBC, Buzbee, Fortney, and the law firm were happy to perpetuate the lies and hold out hope for an unwarranted payment for them and Doe. Indeed, Buzbee went so far as to tell TMZ, already fully aware of the falsity of the allegations, that Doe was not ruling out filing rape charges against Jay-Z, and what happens next is up to my client. It's her case, and what she decides to do, you will find out in due course. However, legal process got in the way of their scheme. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, no. Buzbee had signed the complaints and the action against Jay-Z without being admitted to the bar of the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. Yes, that is true. He did that. When the judge was presiding over this was advised of the fact, she issued an order dated January 28th requiring Buzbee to file proof of admission to the SDNY on the docket. And we had talked about that previously, chat. The very next day, Buzbee applied for such an admission, which is weird because he did it on January 29th, but yet by February 20th, like there's no indication of it ever being completed. You know, there's no indication had been completed because here's the problem. One day before his deadline to file proof, he got the news that because he had already filed pleadings in the SDNY without being admitted to the bar of that court, in the case at issue here and in more than 20 other cases, his application for admission has been denied. And that's the problem, chat. You can do it like once, but you do it a lot, you're screwed. You're so screwed at that point, you can't keep doing it. It's one thing if you try it once. It's one thing if you try it twice, but you do it 20 times, that shows you just don't give a shit. So, he was also instructed to attach a copy of the denial order to any applications for admission in a particular case in the SDNY. Yep. Faced with his inability to comply with the orders and facing the threat of punishment by the court, Buzbee dispatched Fortney to Alabama to meet with Doe that same day on February 13th. During that meeting, Fortney falsely, maliciously, manipulatively told Doe the case against Jay-Z needed to be dismissed as Jay-Z had made threats against Doe's life and it was too dangerous to continue with the case. Of course, no such threats. No such threats were ever made. I'm sure Jay-Z was thinking, God, if I really was a gangster, I could kill you. Rather, Buzbee and Fortney were desperate to withdraw the false case or face punishment in court for their actions in filing a false pleading without Buzbee even being admitted in the SDNY, jeopardizing their ability to continue with the more than 20 cases they had already pending. Yes. So notice, chat, we're getting there because notice how these other judges were like, you need to fix this. How am I going to fix it? Notice we're getting to the part of like why he can't fix it. Uh-oh. Not looking good. Thus, on the evening of February 14th, Doe quietly filed her voluntary dismissal with prejudice. But the threats and the extortion did not end with the dismissal. Rather, on Friday, February 28th, after Doe admitted all the foregoing and after Buzbee became aware of those admissions, a prominent New York attorney serving as her co-counsel called an attorney for Jay-Z. During that call, Buzbee and Fortney's co-counsel threatened that if Jay-Z's attorneys filed anything in the case pending extortion and defamation in California against Buzbee related to the statements made by Doe, this is such a long... Made by Doe fully exculpating Jay-Z and inculpating her and Buzbee for extortion, that Buzbee would issue a public statement by Doe that she was being harassed by Jay-Z's people and drop the lawsuit only because she was afraid for her life and that the allegations against Jay-Z were still true. That's a long fucking sentence. They gotta work on that. Like, look, like from here all the way to here. It's like, come on, you gotta fix that. Also, their footnote there, it is they dropped it. Their footnote dropped. They gotta go like bloop, put it back up. Just gotta take like tweezers and like put it back up top. You gotta superimpose it. Of course, Doe's allegations of being harassed by Jay-Z's people since she dropped the lawsuit and about her reasons for dropping the lawsuit are and always were false. When Doe, Buzbee, and Fortney and their co-counsel said them, they knew or could have readily discovered through any reasonable inquiry these statements were false. Thus, the threats of extortion and further defamation continue to this day, necessitating that Jay-Z take action to prevent unscrupulous actors from preying on him. Michael Boyle says, these guys look expensive. They use justified alignment. Yes, they did. I've been trying. People are mad. You guys are making fun of me for like noticing that. So I'm trying not to comment on it. Because apparently it's a funny thing for you guys that I care about proper style and formatting. And people are godless Philistines. The first cause of action, malicious prosecution against all defendants. So on October 20th, Doe, Buzbee, Fortney sued Combs and his business entities as well as Doe's 1 through 10. Instead, they filed a lawsuit with the intent to extort Jay-Z. And they do say Doe, through her attorney, sent Jay-Z the extortionate letter threatening to assert wild, horrific, and utterly false allegations that Jay-Z sexually assaulted a minor after the VMAs in 2000. According to Doe, if Jay-Z wished to avoid the financial devastation, he would need to work out a deal to silence her. But Doe had already sued Mr. Carter, albeit as one of the Does 1 through 10. We've already covered this part, chat. They're kind of, remember, they have to bring it into the malicious prosecution claim and state the facts there. So either A, she had to pay something of substance, or he would face ruin. After Jay-Z refused to capitulate to the demands, they made good on their threat and formally named him as a defendant in the lawsuit that were later filed. They knew the statements were false and or acted with reckless disregard to the truth when initiating the proceedings against Jay-Z. They talk about the NBC News interview. She published her false statements to millions of readers and viewers to accuse Jay-Z. She intended to inflict maximum reputational harm on him to induce him to give her money. Her lawsuit lacked any probable cause to believe her suit had legal merit, as demonstrated by how easy it was for NBC to disprove her allegations after a few days of investigation revealed the evidence directly contradicted her version of events. No person of ordinary care and prudence would believe that Jay-Z sexually assaulted Jane Doe at an after party for the 2000 VMAs. And this is where, once again, they talk about the large white residence with the U-shaped driveway that was 20 minutes away. But they can show Jay-Z attended a party at a nightclub in New York City that night. They talk about the 10-hour round trip to retrieve his 13-year-old daughter from a random gas station in New York City that her father had no recollection of. You know, that she spoke to celebrities at the party when pressed for their names. She could only name one person, but that individual was in Chicago performing at a concert. She talked about watching the VMAs on a Jumbotron, which, yeah, I think that one she could probably get away with saying, like, I don't remember, I watched it on something. Despite the fact that the photographs show no Jumbotrons and New York City denied MTV the permit. You know, that she approached limousine drivers, but that area was cordoned off by police and inaccessible. She also admitted to NBC her statements contained mistakes and that, you know, her allegations were inaccurate and based on guesses. You know, so she knowingly and intentionally filed a false complaint. And yet, even after the NBC interview and the NBC News exposed the falsity and inconsistency of her statements, they nevertheless continue to pursue her frivolous claims and meritless lawsuits for the improper purpose of attempting to extort a settlement from Carter based on her fabricated allegations. The defendants acted with malice in pursuing and initiating the meritless lawsuit against Jay-Z. They devised and executed their plan. And they go on to list out the rest of their plan here, guys. We're not going to reread through that part at this point. They talk about the demonstrably false allegations. And this is all meant to be happening there. But they talk about the harm Jay-Z suffered. This has caused him to suffer actual and special damages, including but not limited to harm to his personal and professional reputation, harm to his business entity, Rock Nation, which resulted in his business suffering substantial losses in excess of $20 million out-of-pocket loss, and emotional harm, humiliation, and harassment. That's a big loss. That's a big loss. Remember, chat, you got to show your losses. You have to be able to document them. That's the best way to win a loss, is show your loss. After realizing their plan would not succeed, the defendants quietly moved to voluntarily dismiss the lawsuit with prejudice. According to the lawsuit, resolved in Jay-Z's favor without settlement or compromise. Yes, and they point out that the lawsuit was frivolous and was willful, malicious, and intended to oppress and cause injury to Jay-Z. The second thing is abuse of process. So, once again, they talk about everything that happened here as far as the actual statements and everything that's been redone with this. They talk about the lawsuit having any probable cause to believe her lawsuit had merit. They restate a lot of these facts because it's the same facts are a separate tort. The same facts are a separate tort. Okay, guys, that is not really impossible there. That makes a ton of sense because it's really what happened. And once again, The abusive process also caused them $20 million in harm. So, the third cause of action is a civil conspiracy against all defendants. Well, now we're kind of getting into RICO. We're kind of getting into the RICO thing here, chat. And remember, it's never RICO. It's never RICO in a civil case. They call it a conspiracy, which is a little better, but still, it's not much better. So they talk about Buzbee as the attorney filed the lawsuit against Jay-Z and other entities, knowing they were fabricated or recklessly disregarding the truth. Fortney is an attorney representing Doe and assisted in pursuing the lawsuit. Buzbee and Fortney continued to prosecute the meritless lawsuit. Defendant Doe actively participated in the formulation and prosecution of the false claims. And their conspiracy was executed to extort money from Jay-Z and damage his personal, professional, and business reputation. As a result, Jay-Z suffered substantial harm. He also suffered out-of-pocket expenses and emotional distress. The fourth cause of action is defamation against Doe. So, what the hell? Like, my phone lit up, but nothing happened here. Okay, well, we'll take care of that. So Doe has made false and defamatory statements to and through third parties, including but not limited to major media outlets and through her attorney, on social media platforms and during public interviews, accusing Jay-Z of raping her. These statements were widely disseminated through media outlets, social media platforms, and during public interviews. Notwithstanding the falsity of the allegations, Doe relied on NBC and other sources to republish and further disseminate her statements about Jay-Z to the public. All right. Don't fax me pictures of spiders, please, chat. What's my fax number? I'm not telling you. Please don't send me spiders. Oh, somebody sent me a package and I left it out in the car. I gotta go. I'll get it tomorrow. We'll open it. Somebody sent me something in the mail, and I'm worried after all the spider talk of the past week. So her accusations were neither speculative nor innocuous, but asserted by Doe as a matter of fact to lead her reader or reviewer to conclude that Jay-Z committed the criminal acts she alleged. Doe knowingly made her false statements that at a minimum made them with a reckless disregard as to their falsity, as demonstrated by NBC's ability to quickly uncover the inconsistencies in the allegations and contradictory evidence. Remember, Jay-Z is a public figure, as public as you can get. So what do you have to do when you show maliciousness? You have to show malice. And basically, this is malice. If she lied and knew they were lies and said them anyway, or didn't even bother, like, her story is so garbage. Yeah, it sounds very malicious. It sounds like malice was done. More worse when pressed about the inconsistencies, she admitted there were mistakes and random guesses. She thus acted with actual malice. Her statements and her devised plan to use media networks to disseminate the millions of statements were part of the calculated plan to falsely accuse Jay-Z of sex assault and inflict maximum harm on him to induce payment. Yes. The false statements are defamatory per se as inflammatory statements falsely accusing Jay-Z of crimes of moral turpitude that subjected Jay-Z to disgrace, ridicule, public hatred, and contempt. Yeah. Jay-Z was directly injured and faces the deterioration of his public image, reputation, professional relationships, and business opportunities. Yeah, I mean, it really fucking hurt him bad. It really went after him. You know, the false statements also constitute defamation per quote. The false statements were made as a matter of fact statements that were reasonably understood to have been made about Jay-Z. The false statements, including these, implicated Jay-Z in criminal sexual conduct. These statements were made by Doe were known to millions of readers and viewers. For example, the false statements undermined Jay-Z's ability to maintain professional relationships, secure business opportunities, and preserve his reputation by exposing him to disgrace, ridicule, public hatred, and contempt. I'm sure there are comments where he said, I'm fucking out. I'm sure he said, people have told that to him. Jay-Z suffered assumed and actual damages, including but not limited to loss and injury. Harm to his name, out-of-pocket losses, yep. The false statements were a substantial factor in causing Jay-Z's harm. She acted with constitutional malice. Doe either knew her statements against Carter were false or acted with reckless disregard for the truth. Now, that's this thing, chat. That is an issue about that is the constitutional aspect of that. That comes from New York Times v. Sullivan. Remember, when you're a public figure, you have to have the actual malice standard. So that's why they're pointing out this complies with Supreme Court, case law. So either Doe knew her statements against Jay-Z were false or acted with reckless disregard for the truth, which gets you malice. Even upon having sufficient grounds to withdraw her false statements, with the release of the new NBC article, Doe continued to threaten through her attorney criminal prosecution against Jay-Z and maintain the lawsuit against Jay-Z. Doe did not have any reasonable grounds to support any truth in her statements. In fact, she recanted portions of her complaint when interviewed by NBC, and when asked by representatives of Jay-Z to come forward with the truth, she's allegedly responded, "What's in it for me?" Oh, buddy, I'm sure they've got that. Whoa, she actually did that. So what is Jay-Z asking for? An award of assumed and actual damages and an amount to be determined. Punitive damages, costs, and legal fees. Pre- and post-judgment interest and any other relief the court deems appropriate. And Jay-Z demands a jury trial. So, whoa, buddy. Whoa, they are coming in hot and fast. They are coming in hard here. They are like, whoa. Chat, they are ready to go. Where are we? Hold on here. All right. So that is where we are. Ooh, buddy. If you thought you're having a bad day, it could always be a lot worse. Yes. Brooks Hooker is saying, whoa, buddy. Alexis saying, Trump won. Us who are in our mid-40s remember when Jay-Z was Jigga Man. And that his life, that time in his life isn't what he portrays today. He's a gangster and always will be, money or not. Yes. I mean, that's Jay-Z was always about doing shit, man. You go back and listen to him like Biggie Smalls with Brooklyn's Finest. Like, there's all kinds of shit they did. In Jigga, he basically talks about killing hoes. He talks about killing his hoes. Hold on here. Why is this? So it's all kinds of stuff there. And where is? Oh, hold on here. So it's on here, yeah. Well, as he talks about though, it's from the crack tables down in AC, and he is back on the block. But where does it talk about it? Oh, where is it? Hold on here. Yeah. He talks about killing his hoes. And he's you know, he's done that. He's talked about all kinds of shit, doing hood shit, you know, being a lookout on the block when the cops are going after people. You know, he always, you know, he talks about learning how to spot police hopping out the back of vans. He does all kinds of shit, chat. Talks about being a gangster everywhere. Yes, now he's quiet with a family, and that's the image he wants today. But back in the 90s, he was doing all kinds of crimes. Yeah. No, he was acting like he wanted to do all that shit. He was about that life. The only Jay-Z song I know is the one from Little Orphan Annie. There's a lot of other ones out there. So, but yeah, he talked about being like the gangsta of gangsters back in the day. So, you know, he used to scramble with priests and hustle with nuns because he had the mind capacity of a young Butch Cassidy. He did all kinds of shit. Tupac was sussy, yeah. He's also in a lawsuit for PayPal and being accused of drug trafficking. Yes. Do not be deceived by the rocks that she has. Oh. DF88 says that legal doc made Gay-Z sound pretty bitch. Bitch made lols. Don't suck him out too hard. Boomer the Clan watching you. Thank you, DF. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. That's perfect. That's exactly what I need right now. All right. Lawyers suing lawyers on contingency is the best. Thank you, Tim. Jay-Z ain't Ja Rule. I don't think anybody wants to be Ja Rule. It's murder! Like, nobody wants to be Ja Rule. Imagine unironically liking any of these rap types. Well, I got news for you. Tim Beatty says, lawyers should hire Russell Greer to drag this out and also use that they refuse to settle defense. I don't know if Jay-Z can handle that. Let me talk to you about some hookers. Hashtag says upstate's nice. I bet Sean has enjoyed a garbage plate or two. No, that shit's nasty. That's a thing they eat up in like Rochester. It's called a garbage plate. Ugh. Ugh, it's nasty. Tim Beatty says Rochester residents aspire to be Buffaloans. Ooh, that's fighting words. That's fighting words, man. You got to be careful. Caleb says we still don't forgive you. You live in New York? Oof. I didn't know that. Jolly Jake Lavelle says, can't hurt Diddy. No, don't worry. The court's doing that. The federal government's hurting him right now. DK Cripple says, hello, chat. Hey. Armand says, Nick Ricada said I didn't need to go pro hoc vice to file. Garrett Pace says, pro hoc vice is tax-free. Bish. Nick Kreuzer says, if you can't put it in a spreadsheet, I ain't reading it. God, yeah. You engineer people are just disgusting. Anderson Cooper says, autismo. Tim Beatty says, Russell Greer disproves of your autism. Well, suffer. I found the video. I can't send links, but look her up. I'll say this. I'll take a look at it. I'll look for it. I'll look up her lives. KRM says, send hugs. Please don't send anything. DF88 says some shadow government wizard shit. Yes. DF88 says, suffer, Gazy. Suffer, P. Diddler. Shredder S says, Buzbee is a whale. His firm cronies do 90% of the actual work. Well, that happens when you're running the firm like that. You have people who do the work for you. He's also the one who defended Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton during his impeachment proceedings. He's a level 9,000 gas bag. Well, that's a lot of gas bagging. It's a lot of gas bag. Trump once says Sean Jay-Z's bragged about slinging dope and pimping. How can his image be impacted beyond his own testimony? I don't know. And that's part of the argument they may make. You know, your argument is you were a gangsta. So who knows what they'll do? DF88 says, cue the Dr. Evil and Mini-Me prison scene. Yes. That is funny. This one's for my homies in Bruges. Ducka, 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 ducka. Oh, that is... Kamasaur says, I can send you some awesome train shit from Japan. I mean, if you want to send me stuff, you can. I sent you for the title for you to find it. It's easier. It's anyway super interesting. Oh, I will. I'll look for it. I am going to take a look for it. Alexis says, speaking of Arcadia, has he been sentenced yet? Not till April 18th. He's got another month. So it'll be not till April. We are coming up for a year for Ricada being, yeah. But although to remember though, like resolving a criminal case within a year, that's not like, that's not blisteringly fast, but it's also not super long. It's not super long either. Like that's, if somebody told me their case is taking about a year to get done, it's okay. That's all right. Alexa says, okay, the Ricada comment made me spit out my water. Sam Bateman-Fried says Diddy is a great dude. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he's like, I love freaking out for Diddy. I'm sure he's found protection now. Caleb says, I do live in New York, but we don't forgive you for the Mariah Carey Christmas song. Well, softball. Softball! Not even the raccoons eat the garbage plates. Oh, no. Oh, God. That is nasty. Poor little raccoons. Botto is saying this may be interesting, but some interesting developments of the Greer front during this very stream. Every time, man. Well, I'll have to go look for it. I'll have to go look for it. Oh. Alexa's saying, I've been busy. I'm behind on Nick. You haven't missed much. Go on Alyssa Clips. If you go to Alyssa Clips, she'll keep you filled in. He hasn't really done anything. He crashes and burns on people's live streams, so yeah. J-Rock says she's hella mad and she ain't gonna take it. Show her love and your sub. Yeah, guys, go give Hella from Excited Utterance. Show her some love over there. She would appreciate it. Eric says, I'd hate Sean if he played Billy Joel. Well, I mean, like, what's wrong with that? You know, because some people do like to get away from the neighborhood. They want to hop a flight to Miami Beach or to Hollywood. You know, but some people like to take the Greyhound down the Hudson River line. Just like, I don't know what the deal is, man. I just don't know what the deal is with people like you. You get mad. You get mad about things. Eric says, what is a garbage plate? We're not going to go over it. It's nasty. It's nasty. Trump one says, what do you think is going to happen with Johnny Somali? I mean, everybody there is saying he's going to get some time. I don't know if he's getting like 3 to 5 years. I bet he gets like a year or so in prison. That'll be hilarious. That would be funny. Yeah, he's going to prison or going to jail, so. J-Rock says her country's steel industry has been felted by the Emperor of Mankind. Oh, no. Oh, no, I didn't follow that today. Kayla says we live on Long Island. We hear Billy Joel in the regular. Yeah. Glass Houses is peak Billy Joel. Yeah, I don't know, but I like Glass Houses. It's good. It's good. I know the Hudson River line is a train, not the Greyhound, but he says I'm taking the Greyhound down the Hudson River line. So. Billy Joel is great when his leather jackets of cocaine, yes. The only good Billy Joel song is Pressure, Fight Me. I mean, it's a good song. I don't know if it's the only. Clay Martin is bodying that dumb fuck who stepped up against him in the Massey. Oh, yeah. Yes. Zach Zarian's like, shine! Oliver and Company is peak Billy Joel. Yes. Oh, that is I remember that movie as a kid. It was so good. Billy Joel introduced me to rye. I owe him a great deal of gratitude. The Italian Restaurant. Yes, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant is also very good. Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. Yes. A 25% tariff on Australian steel imports. Jesus Christ. Have I gone to a lawsuit with Jay-Z and other CEOs of the PayPal stuff? No, I am not. I was not aware of it. I'll have to look for that. I don't know anything about that one. Well, apparently Twitter knows about it. I'm gonna have to do some looking because it's not popping up right away, but it's got to be out here somewhere. It's got to be out here somewhere. Looks like Patrick Thomas' case hasn't been going well. No, I need to take a look. I'll take a look. It's got to be around here somewhere. You could pay Uncle Sam with your overtime. Is that all you get for your money? Yes. Jay-Z's been accused of money laundering, drug trafficking. Well, ooh. Interesting. Interesting. Downeaster Alexa is better than the Edmund Fitzgerald. Oh, I don't know about that. And that's not just because I live on Lake Erie. I'm not Homer in the Great Lakes here. I mean, Whew. Man, some people can fight you over that. You got to be for an Islander. It is, yeah. I get. Not worried about if you live on fucking Long Island. Yes, for an Islander it is, but yeah, okay. Well, yeah. The Milwaukee PD aren't backing down. I'll have to look for it. I'll have to look for that. Eric says I'll fight. When you fight, get all liquored up, get all boozed up at an Islanders game, go into Nassau County and start fighting everybody. I'm going to Fire Island. Jeez, ooh, people are throwing shots here. We're gonna have to slow the chat down. We can't have this. We can't have this chat. Sky Queen had this earlier. Good to see you, Sky Queen. Hope you're doing well. Says the ex-federal prosecutor, now criminal defense attorney, was helping a January 6th guy. Is that the way to practice in all states? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but that's a good thing if he's helping out. Are you talking about Shipwreck Crew? Are you going to stream Karen Reed? Yes. Yes. I'm not going to be able to do it live like every day, but yeah, we're going to do it like the last time around. We'll catch up and plow through where we can. So, with that said, chat, we are going to wrap up here, but first we need to go through our sponsors tonight. We got our lovely, lovely sponsors. First and foremost, the dragonstreasure.com, a haven for tea, soap, and anime lovers. Remember, chat, use the promo code CRIMINAL and get 10% off your order. Second, we have maf-arms.com, maf-arms.com. MAF Corporation, chat, get your wind chimes ready. It's coming up. Chat, we had 65-degree days here so far this week. Yesterday was almost 70. Today was like 60-something. Guys, it's springtime, man. Get your wind chimes ready. Let the world know it's spring at maf-arms.com. Use a promo code POTCRIM. Get 10% off. And then, chat, Stoney's Bar and Grill. That's right, chat. Stoney's Bar and Grill at 158 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota, chat. I'm sorry. That was bad. Rockville, Minnesota, chat. It is the place to go. Chat, they are still working on their winter hours. Monday and Tuesday open at 4 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday open at 1 p.m. Friday at noon. Saturday at 10:30. Sunday at 10:30. Those hours are subject to change, but for right now, they are doing the winter hours. They're still on winter time, chat. But yeah, stop by for the happy hours 4 to 7 and get you some. Remember, chat, we have coming up Thursday is the home of $2.50 cans. Get yourself some there and try one of the famous ultimate Bloody Marys, chat. That's right. At Stoney's, serving Minnesota as the best biker bar in central Minnesota, 30 years running. Stoney's. Send us to Ang. Ange? Ong? I don't know who Ong is. Brooks, is Naked Twister still going on? I haven't talked to Aaron in a while. I think he's kind of chilled out for now. Aaron's put it up on the shelf. He's hung up his Twister spinner for now. He just can't. Every time he looks at it, he sees Nick in the face just spinning around on there. So he's like a vet with PTSD. He's like, I can't put the uniform back on, or in this case, take the uniform off. So, Naked Gay Twister, yes. So, J-Rock, but I don't know who you're talking about there. You need to help me. You streamed with her on Hella's show. Well, I don't know if I'll see if I can find him. We'll see who's live right now. I don't know who's live, man. I don't know who's live. I don't know who's live, chat, because it is just after midnight here, and we got this done in a good time. All right, chat, we are going to, let's see who's live. Let's see who's live. Smoke and Skin is live. Turtle Boy's live. Ping Zero's live. So, you know what? We'll figure something out here, chat. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. Yeah, Smoke and Scan is live. There's a police chase going down. Maybe I'll send you guys there. Because I don't know how to get... I don't know if I can get Ang's thing in there. Let me see. YouTube is so slow right now. All right. Yeah, J-Rock, I don't know what channel, like, I can't find them. I can't find them in here, so I'm not going to be able to do it. Oh, R&M Productions. Okay, well, yeah, well, there you go. That would help. Thank you. That's you've got to be accurate in what you're doing here, brother. Okay, yeah, they're talking about Menendez brothers. So, it looks like they're not live right now. Uh-oh, hold on here. Not showing up. R-N-M. Oh, they are live. Okay. No, it says they're live. Here we go. All right. Well, I'm going to send you guys over there. Thank you, everybody, for here. He will see it 5 minutes later. Or I could just stay on. No. Smoke and Scan. You know what? We got it sorted. We got you sorted out, chat. We got you sorted out here. We'll take care of you. So you guys are going to go. You're going to go somewhere. Maybe you're going to go see Joe Neerman. I don't know. I don't know where you're going to go. I don't know where you're going yet. So, I don't know where you're going. So you're just going to have to find out. You're going to have to find out. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Tomorrow we are going at it. We got some members only stuff tomorrow for all the YouTube members out there. And then we are going to go forward. I'm not sure if we're going to do 2 shows tomorrow night, but we are going to at least do 1. So with that, chat, have a great night. And remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. In this case, nobody in this can be held guilty. They can only be found liable. So even better, they're still not going to be guilty. They might be shitty, but not guilty. Something to think about. Good night, chat. Take care. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, try to do that.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. But please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy?